Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rumcast, the pod that talks all things rum related with the people who love and shape it. My name is John Gulla, he is Will Hookinga, and today on the show, Will and I finally catch back up with Mitch Wilson, the global brand ambassador for Black Tot Rum, where we get to dive deeper into what it really means to be a rum ambassador, and also hear a lot more about his personal journey with Black Tot, including more on his very recent announcement that you might have heard. But before we get to talking about that, Will, I know we have a special announcement of our own that I know we want to let people know about.
That's right, John. Next month, Saturday, September 19th, we will be at the grand tasting at Boston Rum Week. This is running from 11:45 a.m. to 4 p.m., I believe. And in the midst of all the madness, John, there's going to be a grand tasting. There's going to be seminars. And in the midst of it all, it's going to be you and me doing our first ever live podcast right there on the grand tasting room floor. So we're really excited about this. We've known for, maybe 6 weeks or a couple of months or so that we're going to be doing this. And we've been kicking ideas back and forth about how do we make this fun for people that are attending. And we're going to be bringing up people that are at booths, from various brands and, doing little mini interviews and stuff like that. But in between all that, we want to keep the conversation going, have fun with everyone. So we've been kicking some ideas around. We have some thoughts, but we'd love to hear from anyone listening, whether you are going to be able to be there or not. If you have an idea for something that you think would be great for the Rumcast to discuss live in front of an audience of rum enthusiasts, we'd love to hear what your ideas are. They can be as ridiculous as you would like for them to be, or as straightforward as you would like for them to be. So send us an email, host@rumcast.com, host@rumcast.com. And if you don't have ideas, if you are just planning to be there and want to let us know you're coming, do that as well, so we can be sure to say hi when you're there.
Yeah, I was lucky enough, Will, to be there last year and poured a little Rumcast Reserve for people then, and it was a really cool and fun event. I think John and Lori Shue, friends of the podcast, they're on the board for it, and a lot of other rum enthusiasts that we know and love really pour a lot into that event to make it a great event for rum enthusiasts like us. So I couldn't think of a better place for us to do our first live podcast than at the Boston Rum Week. I think it's going to be freaking awesome. I'm super excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we will put a link in the show notes to the Boston Rum Week website because, as the name would imply, it is an entire week, John, of events.
Yes.
So it kind of culminates on Saturday with the grand tasting and the seminars and everything, but there's, all kinds of different tastings and events at different bars and I think even distilleries and things like that all around the Boston area. So if you're in Boston, if you're in the Northeast and want to just make a little a day trip or two or a week-long trip or a little weekend trip, check out the link and see what's going on. And we'd love to see as many people as possible there. So yeah, let us know if you're coming. John, I'm really excited to get to this interview. Mitch is a great guest. It was really, really cool not only to get to look back on his career as you were talking about, but also get to talk about what he's doing next, which I think people are going to be really excited to find out. To tease it a little bit, he'll be joining forces with another entity that has maybe had an appearance or two on the Rumcast over the years. So it's great minds coming together, and we're really excited for people to learn about that.
Before we get to our main topic today and talk about that,
I rushed you. Yeah. I didn't realize you had something else to discuss.
Yeah, I do, because I it's not often that I have what I would almost call like a little bit of a revelation, in a way, a rum revelation, if you will. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit to see your thoughts on it. So
okay.
I'll start it out by saying I have always loved the versatility of rum, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that it is made in so many different places throughout the world, and that we so often get to explore this through single cask offerings or single distillery blended products, and we become familiar with those sources or origins in that way. But recently I began thinking a little bit, and it came into my head like immediately after our episode with Mitch, for a few different reasons, which will become clear. But, Black Tot has always done an amazing job of producing these multi-origin blends that we very much appreciate.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truly great multi-origin blended products from places out there on the shelf that often, I think, punch above their weight in experience for the price. What we don't have, though, Will, as much of, is simply two origin blended products.
Yeah, a little this and that blend.
Yeah, when we do get them, though, I think we often, as rum enthusiasts, really have an appreciation for them. And I'm thinking of things like Probitas, right? A blend of Hamden and Foursquare Distillery, that did amazingly well in our recent DAC episode. And it also goes for this new product that I just happened to try recently, Will, which is a Spinnaker rum.
Cigar
friend
blend.
of the show. Yeah, the cigar blend number 1, which is a blend of 2 single casks, one from Barbados Foursquare and one Guyana PM cask, which they proved at 54.5, and it says aged at least 12 years. But the headline here is, I tried this and I was like pretty floored by how good it is. First of all, it's a very good rum, and that more to the point, I can taste both of these influences, and it produces such a cool product to me. So it got me thinking a little bit. I was like, why don't we have more dual origin blends like this on the market? And couldn't that be kind of cool as a different space for rum to be explored almost uniquely among spirits, with so many combinations of 2 distillery blends that you could put into products like, there's too many to name, but I could just see this being like a cool little thing, like PB and jelly, salt and pepper, milk and cookies. Like dual origin blends could be really fun to explore, especially when it comes from like single cask products or distilleries that we know really well. So I wanted to get your take on some of that. I don't know if you've tried this Spinnaker rum yet, but also just in general thoughts.
I did get a chance to try the Spinnaker blend that you mentioned this weekend. Kevin from Spinnaker was nice enough to send us both bottles of that, and I, like you, really enjoyed it. And I was particularly intrigued to try it because we were able to try, that whole lineup of initial Spinnaker rum releases. And
right.
for those who maybe don't know, maybe you mentioned it, John, sorry if you did, but Spinnaker is a pretty new American independent bottler on the scene that's really just, I think, done one kind of round of releases so far. And we tasted and shared our thoughts on these, I believe, on a bonus episode for Patreon several months ago. But the one that stuck out to me above all others was a single cask Port Morant that, for me, had this really unique kind of like blueberry pancakes thing going on in it that I really enjoyed. And that's the bottle of the initial releases that I just kind of kept going back to a bunch of times. And so I was really excited to see that featured alongside the Foursquare Barbados as well. And I agree with you. I think the 2 rums played really well together. I could taste both. I think the Port Morant is still kind of the star of the blend for me, but the Foursquare accented it in really nice ways. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's kind of like if the Port Morant is the lead singer or lead guitarist, and the Foursquare is kind of playing bass or drums.
As a bass player, I can spot the other bass player, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But it works. Like, this is a really good product that I find is, I wouldn't say unique, maybe the wrong word, but like it's fun to explore this pairing. And that's where, like I said, I had this bit of a revelation of like, gosh, I would love to see more dual origin blends like this. And I'm sure not every blend is going to work, right? You can't put certain things with other things. It may not just jive. But the ones you can, like, I think this is like a whole new world in a way. I don't know if I'm overstating this, but
I don't know that it's new per se. Like Samaroli puts out a decent amount of kind of dual origin blends, but I do think, particularly if you're in the US, it can be hard to find these all that often from IBs. I think it's more common in Europe. I do agree. I think it's a fun concept, and it kind of gives you like nowhere to hide in a blend when you're only doing 2 things,
right?
Because
exactly,
it's the fewer ingredients you put in, it's just like the more everything really has to work together, right? So if something isn't working, it's not like you can let me add in a little other origin to kind of like dial this in or level that out, that sort of thing. So I think that can maybe be what's challenging. In some ways, it's probably like makes things simpler. In other ways, it can probably make things challenging. Just because you have fewer variables to work with, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's fun to do. And I also think another aspect of it that is kind of interesting is I believe that these are the same two rums that Spinnaker released in that initial round of releases. I think maybe they each aged a little bit longer because I know
that's right.
I know he moved them into ex-bourbon casks from a Texas distillery when he received them. So I'm assuming these aged a little bit longer. But it's cool to have something that I had in isolation before and see them combined. And this was even something that you and I were kicking around the idea of doing with Rumcast Reserve.
Exactly.
We had the Guyana and the Mauritius, and just through little at-home blending exercises, because like, we've got these two rums. What's more fun than just pouring them in the same glass and seeing how they do together? And you and I independently tried them in like different ratios, and we're both like, wow, these really seem to work well together. And we didn't necessarily expect that or design it, and we ended up deciding, like, we thought maybe we could we have some extra glass bottles available. Maybe we could go back and do like 100 bottles of our own kind of signature blend and put that out. But we ended up ultimately deciding it wasn't going to be worth the effort and added cost and everything. But if you do have both of those rums, try blending them together. You can do 50-50, you can do 60-40. We've tried a lot of stuff, and it all seems to work. So, yeah.
I was going to bring that also, so I'm glad you talked about it. It's just another example of this that we had recently just kind of stumbled upon of a dual origin blend that I was like, man, this works really well. So I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm really excited at this in the sense of I feel like rum as a spirit category is better positioned to do something like this than almost any other spirit.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, so from that standpoint, I kind of feel like, gosh, we've been so focused on a lot of like single cask releases for a long time as rum enthusiasts. And I still love those, and I don't want to see that go away. But to open this up into like, well, you had blends, you had, a lot of multi-origin blends as we discussed, which we like, and we have single cask. But this kind of positions itself in a kind of unique fashion that I really feel like we should see more of it. So take that for what you will. Dual origin blends. I'm naming it right now. I don't know. That's what I would call it. Bi-origin blend. Di-origin blend. No, that's mixing.
I think you're going too far. Just keep it simple. The first idea worked the best. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on that. If you have a favorite, because I know there are some of these out there. Like I said, it can just be a little more difficult to track them down in the States, especially. But if you have a favorite dual origin blend, or maybe your own homemade, dual origin blends are the easiest kind of blend to make at home.
It's true.
So yeah, if you have your favorite, send us an email and let us know. But yeah, on the note of blends. Mitch Wilson, we certainly talk about blending, that comes up, but as you said, a lot about his journey as a brand ambassador and like we've talked to a number of brand ambassadors over the years that have kind of like touched on this topic in various ways, but we've never gone as deep into it, I think, as we did with Mitch on this episode. So come for the announcement about what he's doing next, because that's really cool. Stick around for the great conversation around being a brand ambassador and a bunch of other subjects that we touched on. But Mitch is always awesome to talk to. If you've ever run into him at a rum event anywhere in the world, you already know that. So yeah, I think with all that said, John, we can just take a little break and go on over to the interview.
Let's do it. All right, we're here with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mitch Wilson. Mitch, welcome back to the podcast. And Mitch, when we first talked about having you back on, we were talking a lot about what it means to be a rum ambassador, all that goes on in the day in the life, and we are going to get to that today. But First off, I wanted to acknowledge that there was a recent announcement you made on social media, and that is that you're going to be moving on from your position in Black Tot Rum very soon, I believe July 31st on Black Tot Day, and it's a position I know you've had for several years now. So I wanted to kind of start with asking you, a little bit about that. How are you feeling after that came out now publicly, and, what's going on with you?
Yeah, getting straight to the heart of the matter. I like it. It's... it is slightly terrifying. I was speaking to someone earlier today, actually, and they were saying how, when you spend so much time in a career doing something like this, and it becomes so much a part of your identity, and so much of your day to day, and there's this little part of you that's like, who am I once you take away that part? Who am I going to be? Who are people are like, but you are Black Tot. Black Tot is you. Like you're one and the same almost. And you're like, I know it's really scary. So yeah, but it's everyone's been so supportive. Everyone's been so lovely. It's you put something out like that and you think, does anyone really care? And everyone's been sending such lovely messages, it's so very exciting, very scary, but also can't wait for the next steps.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about you put it out there and you aren't sure if anyone cares, where from my perspective and John's perspective, Mitch Wilson leaving Black Tot is like a huge thing in the rum world, just because of who you are and what you do in the rum world. Like if you're someone listening to the podcast that's been to any rum event in the US and Europe, probably other places beyond that over the last several years, like people, you stand out at rum festivals with what you do. When you go to one of those, you don't remember every brand representative you talk to at every table, but I think everyone would agree, everyone remembers you and the education you've done for Black Tot and everything. So, brand ambassadors change jobs every year, but I think every now and then there's a switch that happens where yes, the average enthusiast really is like, holy shit, I can't believe that. And I think this is definitely one of those.
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you to say. I mean, you always hope that that's the case. You always hope that the energy you're putting into something is felt that way, and that people do remember it. But I think, and maybe this ties in to the bigger picture of what we're talking today about the value of having a brand ambassador and someone who is passionate about a brand, because we're still a small brand. We're still an independent brand. It's still this little baby that we've been growing over the last few years, and I think we have been fortunate that so many people love it and have got behind it and have supported it. But without advocacy, without ambassadorship, without someone going around telling people about it and making sure people are tasting it and trying it and loving it and putting a face to it, it's, would it be as big as it is today? Maybe not, and how many brands are in that position? How many small independent brands do we absolutely love and adore, and we buy all their bottles, and we buy it because of the people. We buy it because of the people that we love, and it helps if the liquid is delicious as well.
It does.
It's really disappointing when you love the person and the liquid's shit, but
that's what makes you keep. You buy it in the beginning for the person, and then you keep buying it if it's good. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been an honor to represent great liquid that is very easy to sell once people taste it, But I think every brand ambassador hopes to have that effect, and it's very heartwarming to feel that love back from the industry,
Yeah. I think, Will, you did a really good job of also pointing out that not everybody who is a brand ambassador is as memorable as you are, Mitch, and I agree. And we don't want to sit here and glaze you too much, okay? But the fact is...
Keep it coming.
The fact is you are memorable, and I think that's because you do a good job of being an ambassador in general, and you connect those two things. I mean, I think I literally had you in my phone as Black Tot Mitch for, and now I'm going to have to go change that. which is fine. As of July 31st, by the way, who came up with that idea? That was you?
The opportunity that I'm about to start and the new phase of my career came up a little earlier in the year, and it was funny. They wanted me to start a lot earlier. In this country, the notice period is a lot shorter than in the UK. In the UK, you have to give 3 months. And I came back to them. I was like, can I give a longer notice period? And they were like, why? I'm like, because I can't leave the team before Black Tot Day. Like, if I leave before Black Tot Day, I'm leaving the team in the shit. Like, I want to see this through, see this cycle through. Like, our whole year revolves around this one day. I can't leave on June the 30th. Do you know what I mean? It would be crazy. So, yeah. So part of, I very much want Black Tot to carry on succeeding and being amazing. And for me, part of that was like leaving it in, finishing this cycle, finishing this year, doing everything we can to leave it in the best possible place. So whoever takes it over can, carry it on the right way. So
it does seem apropos, I would say.
It's a good day to leave. Yeah, it's a good day to have a last tot.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, what are you going to do with your July 31st from now on? But I guess you have a whole other year to have to think about that because your upcoming July 31st is spoken for.
Yeah. We'll be doing some big events here in the Netherlands, where I live, in Rotterdam with the Rumor, in Amsterdam with a new bar that started up, the Blauw Parade, which has just become the industry hotspot here. And then in London at Experimental Cocktail Club on Black Tot Day. But yeah, I think, it's been such a big part of my life for the last, this will be the 7th Black Tot Day I'm doing. It's, I think I'll always be raising a glass of Black Tot Day on the 31st of July, or, of Black Tot on 31st July. It's always going to have a little piece of my heart,
Mm-hmm.
So there was a small clue in there as to what you're moving on to, which was, it sounds like it's not going to be a brand based in the UK. So I guess John and I could just start guessing all non-UK based brands, or if you feel like sharing and sparing everyone us stumbling through a bunch of horrible guesses, can you share what your next rum stop is going to be?
No, let's do horrible guesses, and if it's really bad, if it's really bad, you guys can just edit it out afterwards.
I'm gonna start with Boom Boo.
That was the first joke guess that came to my mind too, John.
I'm just all about the money, and Lil Wayne was like, hey, you want to do something together? Like, I was like,
made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
How can you refuse that? Yeah, exactly.
You're like, hell yeah.
It is not Bumbo. I'm sorry. Strike one.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a better guess than that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to top that one.
Nothing? Well,
now I feel like I have to come up with a serious guess.
A serious guess? Yeah, it does. The mood just changed. Like, Mitch is in somewhere in a different continent, and yet the mood changed in both of our rooms at the same time. Come on, come up with your serious guess.
If it's not Bamboo, what else could it be?
Yeah, I know. What else is there outside of Bamboo?
Is there no other brand?
You have confirmed it is in rum, right?
It is in rum. 100% is still in rum. I feel like this would be a very sad podcast if it was like, no, I'm moving to gin. Vodka.
Well,
vodka. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining, Mitch. Yep.
End.
Yeah.
I think obviously it's going to be a quality brand, right? It's not going to be Bamboo.
Yeah.
Because I don't see you, leaving to go to something that we would think isn't good. It'd be awkward if it was, though, right? And
I hate these guys.
I know, yeah. And it's got to be somewhere that doesn't. I guess that I don't think of as already having kind of like a major brand ambassador that I'm familiar with, unless you're joining forces and becoming an unstoppable duo or something.
Yeah. You and Zan at Worthy Park would be amazing.
I know, right? Yeah, like that would be a team.
I would love to work with Zan. That would be just the most fun thing ever.
Yeah. I don't like St. Lucia Distillers. That's a cool place.
Oh, that would be amazing too.
Yeah.
God,
I could
so
see
many
that.
great places. That'd be fun with Margaret and all the team.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I would love that too. Okay. No, it's neither of those. Neither of those. Now you're making me like question my life choices. Maybe I should have.
Send a few
Maybe
more
I should have reached
applications
out
out
to
there,
people. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I have one guess, but it's probably very wrong.
Go on.
I mentioned this to Will. I saw, coincidentally, a very close friend of yours is also moving on to something different as well. Maybe completely coincidental and unrelated, and maybe we can't even say anything about that, but I know Miss Dawn Davies seems to be moving on to different something as well.
You know the number of people that message me being like, is Dawn going for the Black Tot gig?
You're just switching positions.
Are you guys starting a company together? It's just Dawn and I have to do everything together. So, the second I was like, I'm leaving, she's like, I'm leaving. And
she was pissed because you did it first, and she was like, God darn it. Yep.
It's the first time I've ever set a trend that Dawn's followed. This is unprecedented territory for me. So yeah, I got him first. We are not together, but there are some things that Dawn and I would love to do together that we think would be really cool for rum and the industry. So I'm not ruling out anything. There's a little project that we have that we've been talking about for a few years that would be really fun to do. And yeah, I mean, Dawn Davies is such a force of nature. Her leaving Whiskey Exchange is going to be devastating for Whiskey Exchange, but I'm so excited for her because it gives, she now has the freedom to do so much and will no doubt do so much good for the industry. So yeah.
So not that.
So how many more guesses do we have, Mitch?
I've got all night. So depends how long your listeners you think will stay on for.
I think there's at least a few yelling at the program right now.
Are you going to Foursquare to finally convince Richard to make a website?
A website.
I'm actually going into website development just for that reason. Yeah. We've registered the domain. No, he's still very anti-websites as far as I know. So unfortunately that career path was also blocked to me.
I'm just going to name the wish list if you don't come out with it.
That's it, actually. That he just revealed it. He's becoming the Rumcast Reserve brand ambassador. He just pulled out a bottle on screen.
If only we could afford Mitch.
Well, actually, this is pretty close.
Is it? Is it now? In name?
Well, I mean, you've
Main
got
rum
two.
company?
Oh.
That's
You've
UK,
got two
though.
beautiful single casks here, and
E&A Shear?
what if we were to create some cool blends and work with some cool single casks and do something with that?
Yeah. All right.
You said this worked well in a blend, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it absolutely works well in a blend. Those two together, we considered, honestly, like putting out a few bottles of a mix because they really just unintentionally completely do work well.
Well, then I think it's very apt that on the Rumcast, I take your single cask Guyana and your single cask Mauritius and create a little blend with them together because, this will be very, very close to what my role is about to become. So,
Wow.
So yes, I will be joining the E&A Shear group across E&A Shear and Main Rum, mainly looking after the single cask side of the business, but also working with more of the geekier blends the geekier blend requests that come through, and also a bigger piece which I have that I'm very excited to do with the company, which is building out more rum education across the company, because I think that there are very few companies, if any, in the world that have that much access to incredible rum from the world of rum. And historically, Skier have always been a little bit more in the background, as we know. You know, they've supplied, but they haven't necessarily sort of been as forward or as forward facing in the rum industry. And my thinking is that maybe we could do a lot more with rum education, with all that information, with all that liquid, and be a force for good to try and lift the category as a whole for everyone. So yeah, this is my new role.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Two forces of nature in the rum world teaming up. Now I'm so furious at myself and John for just completely ignoring the fact that you're in the Netherlands and like it's right under our noses the whole time. We're guessing all over the Caribbean, all over the place. Wow. That's awesome. So
it is really cool.
At what point do you get the keys to the warehouse and just get to like go in there and just start like grabbing stuff off the shelves?
I know, I'm still pinching myself. I'm like, seriously, you're going to give me the keys to all of this? I'm trying to play it cool, you know. But yeah, I'll be starting very soon. Yeah, a lot of people have asked if I'm going to take a break after Black Tot. I'm going to take the Saturday and the Sunday, and then from the 3rd of August, I will be in the offices. So.
That's great. That is awesome. And I couldn't think of actually, honestly, a better landing spot for you and how that is going to come together. I think we're all going to be very excitedly watching to see what comes out of there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. It's a dream gig in the rum world, and it's a very new position. It's a very new idea. Historically, they haven't really hired people from the rum industry. You know, the rum industry.
Right.
I think everyone from the rum industry maybe comes with some opinions, some baggage, some favorites, some this and that. And I think one of the things that has been amazing with Black Tot is we've got to work with so many distilleries, so many places. Bringing the world of rum together has always been certainly my focus point as an ambassador. Is like, I don't believe any other rum is our competitor. I believe gin is our competitor and whiskey is our competitor. Do you know what I mean? We've got to all work together in the rum world to lift the category and get a bigger slice of the pie before we start arguing over crumbs. Like let's just build it for everyone first. And I'm really hopeful that in this role I'll be able to do that even more so.
Well, you mentioned that this is kind of like, it sounds like a role that's being invented, which is how you know you're someone special, where they have to like make up the job just to accommodate you. It sounds like this is going to be beyond like the duties you were describing, blending, working on the more kind of esoteric blends with clients and stuff. It sounds, some duties that are beyond what I would typically think of as brand ambassador. So is your title going to change?
My title is going to change. It is a slightly ridiculous title, but
oh, this is great.
Most of them are. It's fine. My day job title is ridiculous. It's fine.
My title will be the head of global rum development at E&A Skier Group.
Nice.
That sounds like you're like a titan of corporate industry. That's amazing. You're going to be wearing a suit to work every day, like slick back hair.
I'm having to change my whole wardrobe. I've got is these Black Tot Tiki shirts, and I'm like, oh, I've got to buy actual clothes now. Like, what?
Right. I know. I put on my most Mitch shirt today for this interview, and you've got the nice classy shirt on now.
Yeah, the nice polo button up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to ease it in slowly, so people aren't too shocked when the change comes.
Totally get it. So Mitch, we want to dig back into the brand ambassador stuff and talking about that. And one of the good things about, I think, the timing of when we're getting to talk to you here is that, you've got all of these years of experience of being a brand ambassador with Black Tot, and a lot of, I assume, lessons learned and what it means to really be a rum ambassador or brand ambassador. And so we wanted to dig into that with you. It was really, to be honest, it was your idea. You were the one that were like, you know what, that would be fun to talk about. And I was like, yeah, that would be really fun to talk about, and as you've said, kind of pull behind the veil. So why don't we start with, I think, what people's conception of a rum ambassador is. And I think when people hear that your job title is a brand ambassador, they're often picturing this glamorous travel lifestyle with amazing destinations and doing events at tiki bars and rum festivals all day, every day, and pouring rum for people and just, enjoying it all. And I'm sure there is some of that, but, I want to ask you, what's the reality? What's the real thing look like?
There is a lot of that. There is a lot of that for sure. And I think all the things that you see that make social media are all the most glamorous, exciting, amazing parts of the job. I grew up in a poor family where we didn't get to travel the world. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have a job where I got to see the world and go to all these countries, and if I could do it for work somehow. And I wanted to be a writer because I kind of thought maybe that was a way to do it. And then I remember being at Trailer Happiness 15 years ago, and Jim Wrigley, who was my mentor, who used to be the global ambassador for Santa Teresa, telling me about flying between London and New York and pouring everyone shots, and how great being a brand ambassador was. And I was like, that sounds amazing, and he tells me, when I tell him this, he's like, but I also told you there was all this time waking up at the crack of dawn, being in the airports, being in random towns in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, I didn't hear any of that. And I just heard London, New York, shots. Like, this sounds amazing.
Say no more.
and it is, there is this incredible side to the gig, which honestly, it is one of the best jobs in the world. I remember every time I would talk to a bar owner and I'd be like, how is it being a bar owner? And they'd be like, it's so hard. There's always something breaking. There's always, someone's complaining, always things to fix. The plumbing's always falling apart. Everything's going wrong. And then you speak to brand ambassadors and they're just like, let's have 20 daiquiris. And you're like, this sounds amazing, But yeah, I mean, the truth, what does the gig look like? It depends so much on the day. There might be one week where you're in the middle of nowhere, driving around retailer to retailer to retailer, in shops that have never heard of your brand, don't care who you are, don't really want to see you. And you're like, do you sell much rum here? And they're like, absolutely not. No one cares about rum. And you look at their shelves and you're like, I can see why no one cares about rum here. And you're like, do you want to try this? And they're like, not really. And those are the days where you're really like, you're really earning your money. You're like, you're fighting, you're trying to get good rum in places. And in America, actually, I must say, like, America is so big, so vast. Everything is so far apart. When, I would do these weeks in trade in Florida, and every account, every retailer you'd visit would be, an hour and a half drive away from each other, and you're going all around. And I remember this one day, I worked with this amazing distributor in Florida, 21 Wine and Spirits. Amazing team, beautiful people. Vlad, who's the heart and soul of that company, he was like, yeah, I'm going to pick you up at 10 a.m. It's going to be a long day. Make sure you bring lunch because we won't have time to stop. And I was like, okay. So I ordered some takeout the night before, ran out in the morning, completely forgot to grab it. I was like, that's fine. I'll grab a sandwich or something on the way. No biggie. No, he was not kidding. We started at 10 a.m. We drove like one retailer an hour and a half, another retailer, an hour and a half, another retailer. We did this until midnight. We did not stop for a drink. We did not stop for food. I was looking at him like, how are you still doing this? Like, he does this every day. And
did he just eat his lunch right in front of you and was like,
no,
sucks to be you, sorry, bro?
He's like, no, I don't eat lunch. He's like,
wow.
we don't have time for lunch. We've got to get around to we've got to make the most of your time. You're here in Florida. He's like, yeah, once we had this Italian brand ambassador over and he wanted to stop for lunch. And I was like, bro, you're over from Italy. We're not stopping for lunch. And he was like, this guy wrote a complaint about me. And I'm like, you told an Italian where they stop 2 hours for lunch that they're not having lunch? I'm like, yeah, of course.
You gotta stop for aperitivo. You gotta stop for lunch.
That's right.
It's a whole thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
But I always think there's so many of these unsung heroes in the industry. Like the guy, like the ambassadors get the glory, right? We get the face of it with the ones you see at the shows. But when we leave, these guys who are the reps, the guys in the cars going around with 50 different bottles in their trunk, and they're just trying to build these little independent brands, and it's incredible the amount of work they put in, and each country is slightly different, but America always blew my mind, because it felt like the amount of work you had to do, and a lot of these guys are just on commission, so they're like, wow, we have to sell cases, and they drive 2 hours, and then the guy who said that he'd be there isn't there that day, and you're like, okay, I'll drive another hour to this place. And so some of it is very not sexy, and we tend not to put that stuff on social media, right? Like it's hard to make that like, hey, I'm in a car all day, come join me. It's not all glamorous, but when it is, it's the best job in the world. It's very hard to argue with it. So
yeah. How many days of the year are you actually out on the road? And by that, I mean just travel in general.
So typically, for most of my years, it was around 200 to 265 days a year. Last year was 300 days on the road, which was that's the most I've ever done. And I found my limit, right? Like I've always been like, oh, I could do a bit more. 300. I was like, okay, why do I have a home? What am I doing? So yeah, 300 days on the road, but yeah, no less than 250, I'd say on a good year. And again, it's amazing when you're going to great places, right? It's amazing when you're in the Cayman Islands or in the Caribbean or, in Miami or all these places, but less so when it's the in between random, like you miss your flight, whatever.
What's the most like, why am I here place that you've ever found yourself in? And any listeners in this location won't take offense. We know it's all in good fun.
No, I remember there's a lot of places you turn up and you're like, why am I here? And then and often they surprise you so much, because when you're in the big cities, if you're in London, if you're in New York, every bartender, every person there is exposed to 50, 100 events every week, and they're so spot for choice, and every brand is coming to them, and they don't show up. Like if you get 10, 20 people in London or New York, you're doing really well. Like that's a good turnout for a masterclass or something. And then you turn up in these middle of nowhere towns and 50 people show up because it's the only thing happening in that town, and no brand has ever visited them before, and they're like, oh my God, there's something to do. And you're like, amazing. But the one that's sort of jumping out, there's many examples of this, but I remember turning up in Canada. It was my first trip to Canada, and I was super excited, and there was like Toronto and Vancouver on the list. I was like, amazing. And then in the middle, we were going to Edmonton, and I was like, I haven't heard of Edmonton before. Okay. And we got there and it was -6.
Oof.
And I'm like, I think I'd just come from Cayman Islands, where I was just going to Cayman. Like, I was not prepared for the -6. And I get in the car with the sales rep who's going to be driving me around for the day. And he's like, such a warm day today. I'm like, it's -6. He's like, yeah, but normally it's -20. And I'm like, how do you survive in -20? He's like, oh, no, -20 is just like, if it's nice at this time of year, it gets down as low as -30. I'm like, why do you live here? And he's like, oh, it's not so bad in the summer. And I'm like, but how do you survive the rest of the year, you know? And it was amazing. It was beautiful, and the bars are amazing, and everyone turned up, and it was such a great day. But I was just like, oh my God, like, I was just impressed that humans can survive out there, you know. So full respect to the Canadians. They're built differently. So
you mentioned, you know, hopping in the car with the distributor and going all over the place to different stores and things like that. How much of the time is devoted to, you know, what sounds more like sales work? I guess to an extent it's all sales work, but I imagine doing that is much different than going to an event, you know, doing a masterclass, working a booth at a rum festival, that sort of thing. What's kind of like the division of time spent on those things?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. And it really depends on country to country and distributor to distributor, place to place. Like Asia tends to be a lot more what we call on-trade, which is bars. There's less retailers, there's less retail arms. Like, most people don't drink at home as much. It's starting to change, but historically it's more like you go out and drink rather than you bring bottles home. And then you go to other places and it's just like, they're all like, no, we're just doing shops. We're just going out to retailers and we're just trying to get it in there. We have some countries where they are government controlled states.
Yeah.
And the government chooses what's in the shops. So it doesn't matter if you turn up or not. They're just going to stock what they're going to stock. And so the only way
stores.
Right. And the only way you can build the brand in those places is to go to bars, get people to try it so that they go to the shops and actually pick up the bottle. Because if you don't sell enough bottles in those stores, the government then delists it because they go, it's not popular enough, you know?
You can just bribe a state official too.
You just can't talk about it on a podcast.
I think you need to work for a bigger brand before you get into bribe territory. I'm like
little envelopes to hand out.
Me slipping over, you know, a £5 note and a daiquiri, being like, "Hey, doesn't fly." So it's a really big question for every brand, and it's an interesting thing to dive into because what we see are the bars, and what I believe builds brands is 100% the bars and the bartenders behind it. But so many brands always want to focus on off-trade or retail because it's very immediate. It's a very quick, if you're trying to justify your existence as a brand ambassador and you go, I went to this shop, they bought 3 cases and a bottle of last consignment, I can very easily say this trip was worth its while.
Success.
You know, we drove there for an hour. It worked. You go to a bar, you host a masterclass, 20 bartenders from the city turn up. They all go back to their bars. You leave the city the next day. You kind of don't know until like 3 months, 6 months later.
Right.
Did those bartenders go back to their bars and say to their bar manager, because they might not even be the decision maker, hey, this rum's really good, we should get this in. Did the bar manager listen to that bartender? Did they stock it? Did they decide to put it on their cocktail menu? Did they start buying a case or two? Did they tell every guest that came in about it? In the best possible instance, yes. And I think when you have more local regional brand ambassadors, this is easier to measure, you know, because I can go to a bar and then next week I go back to the bar. Did they list it? Next week I go back again. Okay. Guys, you know, Do you want to get a bottle in? And you can follow up. When you're global, it's much harder because you might go there once and then a year later you go back and you're like, did it work? And sometimes it does, sometimes they're like, I remember that masterclass. My God, like it was the best thing. I learned so much. We've had Black Tot on the bar ever since. And you're like, amazing,
Yeah.
And the thing is, the bars and the bartenders, they are our ambassadors, they are the people that will build a brand for us, because I can't do it alone. I can't do it just by myself. I'm one person running around. If you see Black Tot somewhere, it's because someone came to a masterclass, they went back, they decided to follow up and order a bottle, and that's what makes it so special, when you're a small indie brand coming up. Yeah, it's different when a bigger brand can pay their way into a bar, or and a lot of listings are paid for, and a lot of these things are contracts and other stuff, whereas when you're a smaller brand, you're building the entire thing just on heart and hoping that these things work.
Yeah. That's an interesting point in that, much like any job where you're selling something, whatever it is that you're trying to put out there in the world, whether you're trying to get a store to buy a case, a bar to stock you, a consumer to go and ask for you, the product that you're representing, the brand you're representing, it's going to have advantages and disadvantages, right? What you were saying there, working for a small indie brand like Black Tot, I almost said indie band, indie brand like Black Tot is going to be very different from working.
Also coming.
Yeah, very different from like a corporate behemoth, like a Bacardi or something like that. What in your
100%.
eyes what was like the biggest advantage and the biggest challenge in, being a brand ambassador for a small brand like Black Tot?
I think the biggest advantage always when you're working for a smaller brand that is just focused on liquid and quality and flavor like Black Tot, it's you give it to anyone, and anyone who at least has a palate, has an appreciation for spirits, it's very hard for them to turn around and go, this is not good,
Yeah.
Pretty much you have a 100% hit rate of them. Again, maybe not if they're a general consumer or they're used to drinking, something low ABV or gin or something else. But if they, someone you trust in the industry, you go, try this. I mean, you can't argue with it. It's just fantastic liquid. And I think a lot of smaller brands have that advantage, like they're probably too expensive for the bar or the retailer most of the time. They're probably ridiculous. They're probably niche, but you taste it and you go, well, I can't argue with it. It's delicious. So I want it. If I can afford it, I'll get it in, And it's an odd thing, like a lot of the brands that are big brands now, they're big brands because they started that way, right? They started as the best at what they do. They started as the best possible liquid in that category, in that field. But you get bigger and you're like, wow, okay, we maybe can't do 14-day fermentations anymore. Let's cut that down. Let's, where can we shave off a few edges? Finance gets involved, marketing gets involved, other things get involved. And, it's a death of 1,000 cuts, but now they've got budget and now they've got money and they're like, hey, we'll fly you halfway around the world to this event. You can do a guest shift. Just sign up for the next year and give us all your cocktails. And people are like, fuck yeah, I want to go and travel the world. This would be amazing. So that makes it tougher, and it's, but again, I think bars sometimes don't realize how much power they have, how much control they have, how much say they have. You can take the money and still do what you want on the back bar. You can be like, we'll give you the cocktails. We'll, absolutely fly us around the world. That would be amazing. But we're still going to pour what we want and recommend amazing rums to our guests because we can do what it's our bar.
When you say take the money, get flown around the world, can you expand on what you mean for those who may not be familiar with how all this works?
Yeah, it's, and And I will say it's different in every country, right? Like in America, technically you can't do this, even though it
technically
definitely does happen. So every time you see a menu, you can very quickly, if this is less true in retailers, right? But I'm talking more about the bar side, the on-trade side here. You look at a menu, and if you see every single cocktail has a product from one particular company, you can be fairly certain a lot of money has changed hands in order that cocktail menu is basically locked up with one ecosystem, one company.
Right.
And the bigger booze companies will have a vodka, a gin, a tequila, a rum, a whiskey, this, that, whatever. And you'll just see, okay, you've got 10 cocktails, all 10 cocktails are with this company. You can buy a menu at 100% of the menu. You can buy a menu at 70% of the menu. You could just buy, I will be the exclusive rum on the menu, and shun out other rums. And people pay a lot of money for this kind of stuff. In America, you're not allowed to do that because obviously you guys are super ethical and would never accept bribes ever.
We're just gonna step right aside that yeah.
But if you're a big brand ambassador in America, you can go into a bar, drop $3,000 on some drinks, and go, "Thank you very much." Walk out without ever having a sip, and you've done your visit.
Right.
I would love to have an American expense card. Good God, I would. Should have did this in the wrong country, but yeah, so there's big brands can throw their weight around and throw money around to wrestle position with it and
Crowd out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for me, it's always been a strange aspect of the bar industry. I get it. Everyone needs money, and again, if you can take the money, but keep your independence where you can on the back bar of other places. But you would never see it in any other industry or any other hospitality part. Like if you were a chef, right, and you were cooking food, you wouldn't have a big butter company come to you and be like, we'll give you $10,000 if you just use our butter. It's like the chef is going to go, I will use the best butter that I can find for this job. And, he's going to find the best meat and the best veg and the best this and the best that. If it's a nice restaurant, right? He's going to,
our butter standards are a lot lower on this side of the pond than what you might be used to. That chef, she's gonna make it the best possible thing that she can make, because you go, well, I want to use the best ingredients, but in cocktails it's not always the way, and rum people especially get very upset about this. We turn up at bars and we go, why aren't they using better rum? Why are they using this? Why are you using that? And it's like, well, did you ask for better rum? Did you look at the daiquiri on the menu and go, actually, do you have this rum? Because when you don't, they go, everyone seems to be enjoying it. It's good enough.
And then myself or another ambassador comes to that bar and we say, hey, does anyone ever ask for like a higher end rum? And they go, no. They're very happy with our rail house rum, whatever we're pouring. And you go, huh. And it's kind of up to all of us together. Like the brand ambassadors alone can't do it. We have to be a team. We have to be a force together. And it's not to be a dick about it. It's not to go to a bar and say, hey, your rum's shit. I want better rum. It's like, no. I love what you're doing. Is this pre-batched, or could I upgrade the rum? Could I get something else? And if they might be pre-batched, it might be a clarified milk punch and it took them 5 days to make, and that's the rum you're getting, fine. But if it's a daiquiri, if it's a old fashioned, if it's a, something that they're mixing up on the spot, it's like, actually, I'd love it with that rum and I'd be happy to pay more for it. And half the time, most of these bars, they're like, they either give it to you for the same price or they charge $1 or two more. And it's just like, they're like, oh, no one's ever asked for that. Okay, we'll just put it through as a normal daiquiri, and and you can upgrade your cocktail very easily. But if we don't ask for these things, if we don't go to a shop and say, hey, can you get this rum in for me? I love it. Then they'll order that rum, but if you walk in the shop, you look around, you go, all the rum here is crap. And then you walk out and you complain about it on Facebook. That shop never knows. That shop never hears about it. And then I come in as the ambassador next week. I'm like, hey, does anyone ask for rum? And they go, no one likes rum here. And again, you look at the shelves and you go, I can see why. Have you tried a better rum? No, no one wants it. And it's a self-perpetuating cycle. So all of us have to be ambassadors. All of us have to be asking all the time. All of us have to be trying to move it up and get the rums that we want in the bars and shops. And then we're all going to have better rum to drink.
Yeah, I do that, Mitch. I am that guy that you're talking about that goes to the bars and goes to different restaurants, and I will look at the rum menu or the drink menu that has rums in it. I will get disappointed 90% of the time, and I have a thing now to add to what you're saying. If you're going to do that, and I think you should, I agree with you, know that you're going to get some percentage of the time where people are going to look at you funny. Right? I think you kind of alluded to it, where I would ask and I would say, look, and they would go, well, this rum is amazing. And I would say, yeah, but the thing is, and my wife who's with me is going to be like, oh gosh, here we go. There's a 20-minute conversation coming. And then half the time,
kicking you under the table.
Yeah, the person will go, hold on, let me go get the person that you can talk to about this, and then I'll talk to that person. And some of the times they'll get it, and they'll say, yeah, man, I've been trying to say the same thing for a while now. I've been telling my bar owner or my restaurant owner that we need to do this. And the other half of the time they'll go like, interesting, I have no idea, about all of this. Where do I learn more? Right. And so, just be prepared that some of the time you're going to get into that conversation where you have to be willing to invest a little bit in these people. And some of them, at the end of it, you're not going to make any difference at all. But sometimes you do. I have seen where my ask, like you said, has made a difference at some of the local establishments nearby. So just wanted a little thing there that if you are the guy that does that, like me or like Mitch, be prepared to have some fun conversations with people that sometimes you don't even expect you would need to have.
It's a fine line, and I really appreciate the mini masterclass that Mitch just gave us in how to do this without coming off like a dick, because that's my biggest fear when I'm in those situations. Because, a quick anecdote, when Samantha and I were in Sicily a few months ago, we went to a really great cocktail bar. The name is escaping me right now. I will mention it in the intro because I actually left my sunglasses there and they kept them for me, and they were still there the next day. They were great fucking people. But while we were there, the only other American tourists that were in the bar, one of them was just a self-proclaimed cocktail aficionado, makes cocktails all the time at home. Great. Okay. Those people are my people. But this was the kind of guy who brought the bartender out and proceeds to just try to show off all of his knowledge about cocktails and spirits. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I were watching the bartender's face, and I was like, this guy wants to get out of this fucking conversation so badly right now. And eventually he did. He was just the guy was still talking, and the bartender had to be like, hey, will you excuse me? I'll be right back. And he went and just took a smoke break for 10 minutes. It was amazing.
Really?
So I'm always when I see stuff like that and I want to ask a question or see something, I'm so nervous about coming off like I'm wasting their time or inconveniencing them in some way. So I appreciate the tips, and I'm going to work on applying some of those, because I agree it is important that we all be rum ambassadors out there.
Yeah, we all want to see the category grow, right? We all want to see more rum on shelves, and look, there can be a rum for everyone, and everyone has their favorites, and everyone has their different styles. But you walk into most bars, it's going to be mostly whiskey, mostly gin, mostly agave, and very few specialize in rum, and it's up to all of us to ask for it, because we're a small crowd, but we're a passionate crowd, and complaining on Facebook isn't going to get us there, you know? So
Yeah.
it's,
I, on the other hand, I don't mind being a dick. I'll go in there and I'll tell them. It doesn't work half the time, but, you know, it is what it is.
well, it's because you're being a dick. You gotta,
Right.
you gotta be nice, and then they're like,
half
oh,
the
actually,
time that it does work, you know, is worth it, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I think I just probably come across as
You don't have to try. It's effortless.
Right. It's effortless for me, Will. Exactly. Thank you for
the
saving
name
me
of the
there.
bar, by the way, in Sicily is called Bohème. It's in Catania. Go get a cocktail there. It's very good.
Mitch, I wanted to talk about events with you because
Yeah.
you do a lot of events. And by the way, we're getting a very calm Mitch right now. You know how to read a room and work a room. And when you're at events, to see you in action is always a fun thing. I've been able to be at a few different events with you. I know you go do a lot of them. I want to ask you, you know, in terms of you're the rum ambassador and you're doing these events. What do you bring to these events? How do you succeed as a rum ambassador at these events when there's so many other brands there? And then to finish up, if you can recall any stories about an event that maybe didn't go the way you want to do, went completely sideways, something like that. Has that ever happened to you?
I'm sure there's plenty of that have gone sideways. I think events are interesting. When you say events, do you mean like rum shows or guest shifts, or
I was thinking much more of like the shows, whether they're rum shows, they could just be spirits shows and things like that. You also have other events like you mentioned, masterclasses and things of that nature as well. But I would imagine those take a different kind of vibe and energy and like focus.
I think it's a tool or a mindset that I learned from bartending, from working in hospitality, where when you walk in the room, when you're behind the bar, when you're serving the table, it's not about you, right? You are there to serve. You are there to deliver an experience. You are there to give everything that you can to lift up the room around you. And we all know bartenders and servers and people who do this in the industry. And for me, the best ambassadors in the world were always the people where when they walked into your bar, you were like, oh, amazing. I'm so happy they're here. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna make us feel good. You know, we might be having a hard night. We might be 5 deep. Everything's shit, but they're here now and we're going to have a shot and it's going to be amazing, you know? And I think for me, that mindset carries across to everything, to a show, to a masterclass, to a guest shift. Like when you walk in the room, you are there to give the best of yourself, and your whole world could be falling apart in the background, but it doesn't matter.
Showtime.
You know? You're there to give, and when the show's over, you can go back to your hotel, you can do what you're going to do, but it's like, between those hours, these people have paid a ticket, they're coming in, they're here to try your rum. You might get 30 seconds with them, you might get 5 minutes, but that's got to be the best experience they have all day. And if everyone comes to the show with that mindset, then everyone's going to have a great experience.
Do you have a routine or anything you do before events to kind of like turn it on and get yourself in the headspace? Are you like listening to a particular song? Do you stare in the mirror and give yourself positive affirmations? Or at this point in your career, can you just like turn it on with the snap of a finger?
Neil Diamond.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get pretty deep with this if you want to. But
let's go.
we can. I mean, there's no way you can be on the road 300 days and every day is going well, right? Like there are times when you show up and things just suck, you know, and so you have to switch it. You have to get in the mindset. Before I bartended, before I did anything in the industry, I used to be a karate instructor back in the day.
Whoa.
And
yeah, I remember this from our last interview.
I forgot it.
And yeah, there would be moments you would step up to the ring and you might be tired, you might be shaking, you might be stiff, you might be whatever, and it's just like you have to get into you have to perform, you have to get into that state, and that was a very physical thing, whereas I think coming into shows and masterclasses is much more about energy and giving people your best. But it's a conscious choice, and it's with karate, definitely. I always used to have this Chemical Brothers song that I would listen to that was like my it's time to fucking go. And with being an ambassador, there's times you're jet lagged, there's times you're hungover, there's times where you're just back to back to back to back show, and you've met 2,000 people that week, and every person you meet is the first person you're meeting, so you have to give them your best, and you have to choose to do that. There are people that you meet, and we all know them, and it's understandable, and you want to be supportive, but there's people you meet where like how are you doing, and it's like everything is bad, and you're like, oh my god, okay, and it's just like these energy vampires,
yeah
and that isn't your job as an ambassador. Your job as an ambassador is to lift the room and to make the room as big and amazing, and give them the best time possible, and it's
I have a Mitch Wilson story, actually.
Let's go.
And this is the right time for it, I think. This is a rum event a few years back in Miami here that I attended and was in the audience for. And Mitch, you were on a panel. And the panel had, I don't remember, it was 3, maybe 4 people. I had kind of noticed you had joined right as it was starting. It almost looked like you'd stepped off a plane and sat on, I don't know that, but kind of looked like that kind of thing where you were like, okay, I'm here. What are we talking about kind of thing is what it looked like. And so you're on this panel, and the moderator is starting a roughly 50-minute session, right? And a little less than an hour. And you're on the end of this panel, and the moderator is asking, I don't remember who was on it, to be honest with you, and that's part of the point of the story, is other than you, I don't remember who else was on this. And the moderator goes, to this person, asks a question, and this person just drones on about an answer, and I'm sure it could have been good information, right? But, not stirring. Then you get to the next person, and there's a question thrown at this person, and I'm starting to look at my watch, and we're like 2.5 questions in, and it's like 30 minutes has gone by, and I'm like, damn, I don't know if Mitch is even going to get a question in, right? And I can almost see it on your face at this point, right? You were very professional. I'm not saying, I could, but I'm wondering, and I think
Mitch
probably
was tapping his watch over there.
I think probably like half the audience is going, wow, it's been 45 minutes now. I shit you not, like 45 minutes, and Mitch has not said a word on this panel. And finally, Mitch, the moderator throws you a question at like minute 46 or something, and it was like the entire energy in this room shifted, because by gosh, now you have a person who understands how to behave on a stage in a way that you're not only transmitting information, you're also trying to capture people's attention and, like you said, lift the spirit of the room. And it was such a night and day difference between these people. Again, nothing against the other people who you were with, and I know that they're good people. It's just you have to kind of, like you said, you have to understand how to treat the room in this way and know what you're working with. And I just thought you did a phenomenal job with that. And I still remember, to this day, this was years ago, right? I don't remember 3-4 years ago, to this day, how you had 30 seconds of airtime, essentially, and still were the one that I walked away remembering. So kudos to you for that. And, it was a fun thing to see a person at work who knows how to do that well.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. It's tough, I think it's tough for a lot of ambassadors and a lot of brand people and a lot of people who are putting these positions where, they're on the stage, they're in front of people, they're maybe like in their head thinking about all the things that they're meant to say for the brand and the marketing and this and that. And it's very easy to be self-conscious in those situations. Like a lot of these people aren't media trained. They aren't like told this is how to do it or whatever. And I mean, I wasn't always good at this job. I had to learn how to be competent. Like if if you spent time with me outside of shows, if we were just hanging out at my place here, like I'm an introvert. I'm very quiet. I'd be very happy reading a book or writing at the side of a bar. Like that is my natural state. Do you know what I mean? And when I started being an ambassador, or even before that, when I started being a bartender, I realized, again, it's not about me. I have to deliver an experience. I have to be there to lift up the person in front of me, whether that's one person at the bar or whether it's 100 people at a seminar, right? And I always remember, he's going to hate me for telling this story, but when I first became a brand ambassador, before Black Tot, I worked with Maison Frand, Planteray now, and I got the gig through kind of belligerence. I ran a hospo bar in Sydney, and we poured a lot of rum because I used to work at Trailer Happiness, so I built out our rum section, and we entered a plantation at the time competition. We won the competition. It put me back in touch with Paul McFadden, who used to be part of Trailer Happiness, and he still is the UK ambassador for Planteray there. And he was like, "Oh, they're looking for someone over in Australia," and I was like, "Okay," and started speaking to the distributor there, and they were like, "Yeah, we're looking for a salesperson who's really good at spreadsheets, who can do like 2 days a week." I was like, "Spreadsheets, 2 days a week? This sounds awful." And I said to them, I was like, "I don't think that's what you need. I think you need someone to go around and pour everyone some rum and it'll just work." And they were like, "No, we're not looking for an ambassador." And I was like, "Fair enough." And I said, "But what would you pay the person doing 2 days a week as a salesperson, like spreadsheet guy?" And they were like, and it was nothing. It was like $500 a month or something, Australian. So like £250. And I was like, "If you put that $500 on a card, I'll go and buy everyone daiquiris and we'll see if it works." And and they were like, "We'll think about it." And 3 days later, they were like, "Okay, we're going to send you a card." And that's how I became a brand ambassador, right? Like that's that's how I got my foot in the door. And then for a couple of months, this was my whole plan. I was like, I will just buy everyone daiquiris and we will grow the brand. And it worked surprisingly well. Like we doubled Sydney in a month. And after 3 months, they were like, "We can take you on full time now." Like that's how powerful daiquiris are.
There's no rum problem at daiquiri.
The $500 worth of daiquiris strategy. It's unbeatable.
Yeah. It works. You know, it still works. When every other brand and marketing plan fails, just buy everyone daiquiris. That will grow your brand. And after a few months of doing this, they were like, "We should maybe train you now." So Paul McFadden flies from England to Australia, and he's like, "We're going to do an Australian tour together, 5 cities, and you can work with me on the masterclasses, and I'll show you what I do, and you'll learn how to be an ambassador." It's like amazing. We do the first city, he does the presentation. I'm like, "Cool, got it." Second city, we're in Melbourne. And he goes, "Okay, you present the first rum and then I'll do the rest." I'm like, "Okay." And so I'm like, you know, and it's Plantation 3-star. And I'm like, okay, I've learned every technical detail, everything that I can possibly say about the rum. And I'm like, I tell every single fact about this rum, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, amazing, nailed it, right? I hand over to him. He does the rest of the masterclass. Afterwards, I say to him, I'm like, "Hey, any feedback? Was that okay? Like anything that I can improve on or whatever?" You know, thinking like I did okay.
I nailed it, yeah.
And he's not even looking at me. He's just like looking off into the distance. He smokes a cigarette and he's just like, "I'm so disappointed."
Oh man.
and then just someone comes over and he starts talking to them, and I'm like, no, and I'm like, what was that? And it took him a while to sort of like tell, he like, maybe I wasn't allowed to present for the rest of the tour, right?
Wow. Presenting privileges taken away.
Yeah, nothing. And we get right to the end of his tour, and he's like, you think being a brand ambassador is just telling them everything about the brand and telling them the facts and figures? He's like, no one cares. No one's going to remember how many like yeast strains or how many fermentate or what. There's like, they're going to remember how you make them feel. And if they're bored and you've got a room full of 20-year-old bartenders and they walk away going, I heard a load of numbers and pot distillation and this and that, like, then your job is not to just educate them. Your job is to make them love the brand. Your job is to make them feel good. Your job is to lift the room. And it was a slap in the face, right? Like, it was a real wake up moment, but it made me think about everything all again. I was like, well, how can I still deliver education? How can I still deliver the information, but make it in a way which is fun, which is enjoyable, which is not just someone droning on through spreadsheets and slides and facts and figures. And we've all been to those masterclasses, right? And sure, if you're a super geek and that's all you want, like, fair play, but that's not how we bring more people into the category. That's not how we get people excited. And I had to find my balance between fun, enthusiastic party, but also, you want to talk about esters? Let's go. Like, we can talk about this. We can dive in as much as you want, but also let's make it fun and enjoyable, you know. And it's a tough balance to get. And there's no marketing team in the world that's going to teach you that. Most brands don't know how to necessarily deliver or package that. It's like, again, it's a personal choice. How do we get our message across in a way where they come away and they love your brand, they've learned something, but also, they come away feeling good.
Speaking of trying to, lift the room, make people come away feeling good, I'm wondering if John and I can have you consult us for a moment on something upcoming that we're attempting to do, which is September 19th is the big rum show at Boston Rum Week, which is a week-long event. There's all kinds of different bars and things like that throughout the week doing events. But on September 19th, Saturday, there's, a tasting hall, there's seminars and everything. And in the midst of all this madness, Mitch, John and I have been asked to do our first ever live podcast. And what we are most afraid of is, how do we meld with all the things going on at this event and make it fun and interesting for people, not bore people to death, excuse me. I'm curious just if you have any words of advice, do's, do nots, things like that. Just, the floor is yours. I don't want at the end of this for someone to take a big drag on a cigarette and look at us and say, I'm so disappointed.
So disappointed in the Rumcast. And then we don't get to do another live podcast for the entire year.
Yeah.
You guys are so far ahead of when I started as an ambassador. It's embarrassing. So you will never have that. No, I think you guys, and just as an aside to all this, what you have built with the Rumcast and your energy and your devotion and your thoughtfulness with all your questions, it's unmatched. I mean, I don't know anyone who does this as well as you guys do, and that's why this Rumcast endures, and that's why it's such a reference point for everyone. I don't think anyone could ever listen to one of your casts, live or otherwise, and not see the amount of care and attention and time you put into it. And I think as long as you can still bring that to a live session when it is frantic, when it is crazy, when it is going to go maybe all over the place, I think everyone will be along with you for the ride and be supporting you and cheering you along. So Honestly, just keep doing what you're doing. It'll be live. It will have more energy. But honestly, everything you do is live, right? Like all of these sessions are live. It's no difference. It's just instead of one person, you've got
we edit
50 and 100.
Like that, so. But you nailed the question. We were really just fishing for compliments. So that was amazing. Thank you so much.
I have a couple more questions.
I wish I had a cigarette right now.
Yeah, so disappointed. Couple more questions on some things with ambassadors before we kind of wind down. I wanted to ask specifically about social media.
Yeah.
So social media, is it a big part of the job description now? And if so, what are your thoughts on that?
It is undoubtedly, and it's only going to get bigger. I wish I was better at it. I really struggle with it. Like I struggle with the idea of like self-promotion and putting yourself out there, and like, people don't necessarily respond to, every brand just wants to have a million bottles of like, a million photos of their bottle up on and no one cares about that, and it's like people want to see more engaging content, videos, education, all these kind of stuff. And it's tough. It's tough on the road, especially when you're like, it's me, myself, and I going around, maybe with a sales rep in his 50s who doesn't even have Instagram, and you're like, hey, can you take a picture or record this? And they're like, why?
You're like, I'm in the suburbs outside of Tallahassee with Black. Like, what am I gonna do?
So yeah, it's tough, but I mean, it's undoubtedly a part of it. It's undoubtedly a way to stay connected. I've seen it even just these past couple of weeks. Like announcing that I'm leaving, and bartenders from masterclasses I've done, 2-3 years ago, reaching out and being like, thank you so much for this masterclass or this or that. And you're like, wow, it really keeps you connected with people. And even if they're not engaging, even if they're not commenting or messaging you, like they're watching, they're seeing the brand, they're seeing what you're doing, they're seeing the effort you're putting in. And I think people respect that to a degree. I think people go, wow, he's really been on the road a lot. Maybe I will buy that bottle, like I'll put something back into it, But yeah, get better social media teams, get someone with a good camera, get someone who can throw stuff together for you and make it look good, to deliver your message, deliver your content. Like, we are, all of us and everyone who I think is listening to the Rumcast right now, we are all living in a bubble where we see a lot of rum content from people that we know and love. That is not the norm. That is not what the rest of the internet sees. Like they are seeing whiskey, they are seeing gin. We need more voices in rum. Like, if you're thinking about writing an article about rum, you're thinking about starting a blog, please do. You're thinking about like putting up a post about it and shouting out your local bar or a rum that you love, please do. Like, we need more voices. We need more people vocal. We need more people active. We have to mobilize as a community and put the word out there. And it's exhausting because you're going to show rum to friends and they're not going to get it. And that's okay. But keep showing it. Keep bringing people into it. It's like, you never know who that next person is going to be that is going to become the next rum aficionado because you introduced them to it. It's funny enough, just earlier today I was with Ben Booth from Tomosi Rum. It was his birthday today. It is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Ben.
Happy birthday, Ben.
And we were with a good friend of ours, Chris von Stedink, who used to run Rum Symposium Amsterdam and is bringing out a new rum blend himself very soon, which is very, very cool. And he used to hang out with this guy called John Gibbons, who was known in the sort of earlier days of the UK rum industry. The Pete Hollands and the Johnny Dreyers would know John Gibbons very well. He was on all the early brand trips. And Chris was like, yeah, my introduction to rum was Blairmont 1991 and Skeldon 73 and Caroni. And, you know, we went to this shop and they had 3 bottles of Blairmont 91 and it was €100 a bottle. And John was like, I'll buy all 3. And then we drank one in the parking lot. And it's like...
That's everyone's introduction to rum, right?
And John now like is more of a beer guy. He's kind of like moved out of rum. He's a little bit distant from the industry, but it's like through him showing Chris, who knew nothing about the rum, 12 years ago. Chris is one of the best palates, one of the most like fanatics about rum that I know. I'm the godfather to his second child. He's like an incredible human, and he is one of the biggest rum fans I know because someone just showed him, hey, you don't know rum. This is what rum can be like, and we have to do that. We have to, all of us over COVID, we bought a load of rum, right? We bought all these bottles. We've stacked up our shelves. My stuff's like spilling onto the floor here because there's no room.
I've got stuff on the floor in here too.
It's over on the vine or it's on the table. Like it's like I'm surrounded by bottles, and it's like, and we have to invite people over. We have to share these bottles, like take them out, share them with people. Like if there's something you love, share it. Like, it's not doing anything sitting on your shelf. Like give it to people, invite people over, get them drinking it, like share something special. It might blow their minds. They might not be ready for it, but what if it's sparks something and in a couple of years they come back and they're like, I've got 5 bottles now. Amazing. Okay. What are you going to get next? Like we are all ambassadors.
So
well said.
Yeah, I agree. I still remember during COVID, actually, I think I've told this story before, but having you join a Florida Rum Society event and you were putting together all of the samples for a future session that you were doing, and they were like literally laid out, the entire floor was covered, and you were like sitting cross-leg style in the middle of them and just kind of boop, boop, boop for 2 hours while we were on this session, just going at it. And I was like, man, that is effort. So yeah, I know it takes a lot.
That's a day in the life of a brand ambassador.
Exactly.
Man, COVID was a whole other world. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. And it gave rum. That was a place where rum had an advantage because we could bottle rum in my living room. Like all the Scotch guys, they got in trouble if they bottled anything outside of Scotland. They were screwed. Like because it was legitimately a thing where even then people would come after them going, you didn't bottle this in Scotland, you can't do minis at home, like, and even during COVID, like things like that would get cracked down.
Even a mini bottled outside of Scotland is not Scotch?
You can't put Scotch on the label because
Scotch?
It wasn't bottled in Scotland, right? So sometimes some of our little freedoms in rum, you've got to appreciate. It gave us a lot of legroom where, I think that's the only example of multitasking I maybe ever have over the last 10 years of me attending a session and bottling at the same time. But yeah, God, we bottled thousands of little samples and sent them out around the world. It was, that's how we built Black Tot in the first 2 years, right? Like I joined January 2020. I finished probation 3 months later. The next week it was COVID. Like, thank God. and then for 2 years it was just, well, you can't travel. How do you build a brand that no one knows about and get that out to the world? Crazy.
Tough task. Yeah. I'll ask one more kind of overhead question because I know we got to a lot, and I want to make sure that if there's anything else as we have this discussion that you wanted to put out there. If you could go back to day one, Rum Mitch, standing where you are now, is there any kind of piece of advice that you would have for yourself, and what do you think that would be?
Write it all down.
Meaning your day-to-day, or what do you mean?
Yeah, just, not the reports because they're boring, but no, right.
Sold 2 bottles today.
Yeah, that's what my team wishes I did more, but no. Write it all down. Yeah, these experiences, these events, these moments, these times we get to have these crazy shows or seminars or guest shifts or masterclasses or just wild trips. Like, there's so many things I wish I'd written down where I was just, I was tired or jet lagged or I put it off, and like, I think journaling and putting all these things down to paper, like, I wish I had done that more. There are stories I remember, but there's a lot I'm sure I've forgotten where too many daiquiris have taken over. And yeah, I mean, it's been 10 years as an ambassador now, which is
yeah,
a crazy amount of time to be on the road, a crazy amount of tours and places and amazing people met along the way. So yeah, if you're an ambassador starting out now or anyone, just write more things down. It's fun to look back on.
I want the Mitch Wilson tell-all brand ambassador memoir is what I want.
I want the Netflix documentary,
the Black Tot years. Yeah, the untold stories.
We can do it. Let's go.
We'll do a whole Rumcast series. As we kind of close the chapter on the Mitch Wilson Black Tot era, I did want to go back to when you last came on the show, which, believe it or not, was 2022, 4 years ago now. Somehow, you mentioned at the time that a dream release for you would be if Black Tot did a single-flagon vintage release. So, any progress on that, or is that something we'll have to wait for the next brand ambassador to champion?
He didn't write it down. That's the problem.
I've definitely mentioned it a few times to Ollie. Also, I have to say, and it was 4 years ago, the last Rumcast.
Yeah.
I had someone come up to me last month at a show, and I was talking to him about the brand, and he just looked at me and he went, "Your voice is really familiar. Were you on the Rumcast once?" And I was like, a long time ago. And
that's amazing.
He was like, "I recognize your voice from the Rumcast." And I was just like, wow, like if anything is a testament to what you guys are doing, like that was amazing. Single vintage flagon releases. I would absolutely love for Black Tot to do this. Ollie, if you are listening, please do this.
Come on, Ollie.
Come on, the last
We're
Black
counting
Tot
on
Mitch.
you.
It's I think it's such a fascinating piece of history that Sukhinder and Ollie have at their hands. And a year or two ago, Ollie's wife, Laura, who is a historian, she's done research for brands like Johnny Walker and very big brands, looking into their history and trying to sort of better understand the background of where some of their liquid has come from. And she did this amazing project, which I wish I hadn't been traveling whilst it was happening. I wish I could have been there for it. And when they cracked open every box of flagons that they still have and dated them and worked out, what regions, what things they had. Because quite often people ask me, how many flagons do you have left? And it sounds like a cop-out. And it's always like, we don't know, because there are just pallets of boxes and they're all nailed shut and they're all wrapped in metal and you have to crowbar them open, and you don't know what flagons have survived. You don't know if any of the boxes are empty. You don't know you don't know until you crack these things open.
It's because they need to hire a spreadsheets guy. That's the problem.
2 days a week. And so they went through and to my knowledge, they still haven't done all of them, but they did like enough of a cross section to start building up a bit of a map of like, what do we have? What years do we have? We know now that there were at least 3 different blending halls, one in Scotland, one in Deptford, one in Portsmouth, Plymouth. Like there was, we've got ones that say Singapore on the flagon, there is still more to discover with the Navy rum story, which is fascinating, and so much of it is locked up, and the last remnants of it are locked up in these little time capsules that we have, these flagons. And so they started building a bit more of a proper inventory and understanding what we have. To my knowledge, this hasn't translated to what the next step is yet. I think they're still deciding. But what's interesting when we look at Last Consignment, and something that I think not everyone realizes, Black Tot Last Consignment is a blend of 1954 and 1970 flagons. So it's not just the flagons after Black Tot Day, but it's the flagons from just after World War II, which were a little bit more Jamaica heavy. Like after World War II, there was a shortage of rum. The sailors didn't like Jamaican rum. And so how do you fix the shortage? Well, we've got some Jamaican rum. Even though they don't like it, we'll add some to it. So you have these two very different flavor profiles from 54 to 70. Luca Gargano at Velier bottled some 1954 flagons by themselves, the 1954 RASC release. So we see a little bit of an example of a batch of flagons from that era. But yeah, it would be fascinating. I think as an education standpoint, as another little veil of looking back at Navy rum, doing these single vintage flagons would be really cool to look at, like 54, 55, 69, 70, these years back to back. If you really wanted to get into it, maybe even like separating out, okay, well, these are the ones blended in Scotland, these were the ones blended in Deptford, these were the ones blended in Portsmouth and Plymouth, and being able to really sort of show, okay, how different were the blends from place to place as well. You know, if you can separate all that out, it's funny. You know, I'm coming to the end of this time at Black Tot, and even now there are still these questions. There's still these things to dig into. There's still these mysteries which we're trying to uncover. You know, and it's fascinating. That's why rum is the best spirit in the world. You know, there's still so much to learn every single week. You know, it's so yeah. I hope they do it. I would love them to do it. And yeah, Ollie, if you're listening, I would buy it.
Come on, Ollie. You got 3 sales right here.
That's right.
Let's make it happen. As we wrap up, Mitch, is there? I imagine some listeners are wondering. So now that Mitch is taking, you know, this big important corporate position at E&A Shear, are we still going to hear from Mitch? Are we still going to see him at events and things like that?
Or
are you
hiding
still going to
away
be out there
doing
to some extent? Or yeah, are you just going to be in spreadsheets all day?
No, I think I'll go crazy if I'm on spreadsheets all day. No, my hope is, you know, I think E&A Shear over the last few years have been making more of an effort to be at more shows, be more present, be more visible. I think I'll very much be a part of that. Like, I think if we're going to build out education for the category, if we're going to do more in that space and contribute more, like, we still need to be supporting and attending all these events and doing a lot of that. So you will see it. I'm not sure how quickly they'll let me out the office. Like, there's a lot to learn. They've sent me all the cask inventory and things to look at, and it's just like, and you know, even after being this many years in rum, it's like, okay, there's a lot here behind the scenes to take in and learn. So, but when it's ready and when we've got the right things to bring to these shows, yeah, hopefully I'll be still out and about. And you know, the thing I'm most excited about is we never have a stand. Like, when you see the guys from Shear and Maine, they're able to walk around, they're able to try all the rums, they're able to see everyone. Like, that's going to be amazing, because then I get to try everyone's rum. People come up to me at the end of a show, they're like, did you try anything interesting today? I'm like, I have not left this stand in 7 hours. So have you tried anything interesting? Bring it over here. Like, you know.
I very much look forward to running into Mitch Wilson, the attendee at a rum event at some point in the future.
No,
Agreed.
I would love that. And all I'd say to everyone as well, and we'll be building this out. Building out rum education is a long-term project, right? Like, and obviously, yeah, I'll be working with any brands for their casks and their blends as well in the meantime. But I think let's all get more vocal about what you want to see. Let's all get more vocal about what you want to learn. Like, what do people want to understand, you know? Because, again, you know, what I'm so excited about with working with Sheer is that they have access to and have these relationships with so many distilleries around the world. And there's not many companies that can be a neutral voice in that. You know, there's not many companies where they can be truly unbiased and say, well, we work with all these people, but we're not trying to sell you this rum. We're working with brands and they're going to sell you this rum. But
Yeah.
if we can help build better rum education and what's missing, what are the gaps, what do people want to see in rum education that doesn't exist, and how can we contribute, how can we help? Tell us, be vocal, you know, get in touch. That's the message I'd like to leave with everyone, because we have to work together on this. It can't be just me, it can't be just you guys on the Rumcast. You know, it's like we have to work together as a category and build this thing, because rum needs to be the best spirit in the world. It is the best spirit in the world. People just don't know that it is outside of our little bubble. So
Hell yeah. Well, Mitch, if people do want to send you their brilliant ideas about what's missing in rum education and things of that nature, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, you can still get me on socials. I'll still be on Mitch Said This, but I believe I have a new email address, which I don't have access to yet.
Oh.
But from 3rd of August, you can email me at mitch@rum.nl. And
Wow. That's official.
That is, yeah.
Everyone wants the coveted @rum.nl email address.
@rum.nl. That's right.
Also, if I walk in on Monday and I have like 300 emails, here's our suggestions.
Everyone send emails to mitch@rum.nl, even if your ideas aren't good. We want to fill that inbox. Yeah. We want, on Mitch's first day, for everyone to be like, damn, this guy's more important than we thought he is.
Yeah.
He's got 300 emails over here.
It's like a flash mob, but for email. I love it.
Exactly.
We need to do that.
This was a terrible idea. Let's cut this
Mitch's
out.
first week is just spent going through emails.
I'm going to send you guys a screenshot of my inbox on day one.
Well, Mitch, thanks so much
thank
for
you.
joining us. This was awesome. It's really cool to get to reflect back on the Black Tot journey, and also to hear about what's next for you. And I'm super excited to see what comes out of this union between you and ENA Shear. I think that's two really cool, different forces of nature in the rum world coming together. So that's going to be really cool to see where that leads. So congratulations, and best of luck in the new gig.
Congrats.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Will. Thank you so much for having me back on. It's an honor to be back on the Rumcast. I know it's a coveted thing to come back and be invited again. So.
Well, I mean, like, you know, a year or two from now, we're going to have to hear about, you know, what all you're up to at ENA Shear. So let's just get it on the calendar.
Absolutely. Well, if either of you are ever in Amsterdam or Liverpool, and if anyone listening wants to come through and see what's happening there, it's always a pleasure to host everyone. And yeah, can either come and have a rum at mine, or we'll have a rum over there. You know, between my place and what they have at the office, I think we've got pretty much every rum that we need. You know,
just a little bit. All right, amazing, Mitch Wilson. Everyone, send him your emails at his official new email address. Thanks for coming on the show again, Mitch.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks so much, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Rumcast. Like we said, we would love your ideas for Boston Rum Week, the live Rumcast episode, the first one ever. Send us your emails, host@rumcast.com. That's HOST@rumcast.com. Also, don't forget to email Mitch Wilson as we talk there at the end. Let's fill up that new E&A Shear inbox. I believe it's Mitch at rum.nl.com. Be sure to just say hello. If you got nothing to say, just send him an email and say hello. We'd
Tell
love
him
that.
the Rumcast sent you.
Exactly. Also, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us or you can get in touch with us on social media. John, where can they find us over there?
At the Rumcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. We will continue to post all of our episode releases as well as some of our other things coming up, like Boston Rum Week. And when we find out more information about when exactly we'll be going on and all of the details, we will make sure to post that as well. Been seeing a lot of good comments, Will. A lot of good social media stuff coming through. A lot of people like the Dak Brack, man.
All right.
Which is exciting to see, you know? Like, we still have 2 more full brackets we're going to be doing.
I know, we're only halfway
months.
There, and I got a text message the other day from the owner of Elixir Spirits, which is by far the best rum selection in the entire Middle Tennessee area. If you're ever in the Nashville area, take the 45-minute drive down I-65 and hit up Elixir Spirits in Spring Hill. But Tarek, the owner, said, as I'm going through the daiquiri episodes, I thought that you should also do an episode on 8 Marks collection daiquiris. Why not? So, John, at
its
some
own
point,
bracket.
we may need to add in a 5th bracket, the Hampton bracket. So
oh, wow.
We'll see. I don't know how much daiquiri stamina we'll have by the end of the summer, but yeah, especially after the overproof bracket.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be a doozy. But
yeah, we're gonna have to take a DAC break.
Follow the DAC Brack with the DAC break. Yeah, I love it.
Agreed.
All right. Well, keep the comments coming. Keep the emails coming. We'd love to hear from you and hope to see some of you in Boston in September. But John, until next time, cheers.
Cheers.